Hello, thank you for joining me for your service learning orientation. Hopefully our time will be spent that I'll get all your questions answered as far as your service learning goes, what service learning is, the paperwork that you'll get to submit, who you'll turn it into, the community partner options, as well as some benefits. My name is Dawn Rhodes. I am the Service Learning Program Coordinator in the Center for Community and Civic Engagement, and I love seeing the difference that students make. So let's jump in, and so hang tight as we go through the service learning orientation. This is our department's website, and I encourage you to come visit it. It's mesacc.edu/getengaged, or as you can see on the screen, the little bit longer URL. These buckets change. There's a lot of different events and scholarships and awards and things you might be able to participate in. Okay. So what is service learning? Service learning, by definition, here at Mesa Community College, is that it's a teaching and learning method that connects meaningful community service with academic instruction through guided reflection. What does that really mean? Well, your instructor is breaking down the classroom walls and getting you out in the community to serve tied to his or her classroom instruction. Because what's the best way most students learn? Hopefully you said by doing, by hands-on, because that's correct, and they understand that, and they want to get you out there experiencing what they're teaching. Some other areas of focus are career exploration. Maybe you're deciding on what kind of major you want, or if you really want to, do that career. A lot of our students will end up with full or part-time jobs as a result of their service learning. Another one's critical thinking and problem solving. Do you know how to think critically and solve problems? Hopefully your service learning experience will give you some skills in doing that. Values clarification. What do you value? What does society value, particularly around the topic or subject matter that you are doing your service learning for? And my favorite, social and personal development. I believe you as the individual will be impacted because of the difference you are making through your service learning. Another one is community and civic responsibility. What is your role in society? What difference can you make? So now let's talk about the forms. If you are in an online class, you can access them from our webpage, or if you want to come into our office to get hard copies of the paperwork, then you can come in and get the paperwork. Live online, hybrid, there's a lot of different options. So let's go back to our website and go to the forms page. So I already have them open. We are going to be talking about the general service learning experience through this orientation. So this orientation is for all disciplines that are not EDU, EED, or SW291, as well as not doing the short-term or group placements. So again, I have the service learning paperwork here. So if you're, there's this instruction sheet that tells you how you'll turn in the paperwork. And when I say how, it doesn't give you the due dates, because those due dates of the paperwork are in your instructor's syllabus or in your Canvas course. They select the dates based on their course and things like that. So you really need to refer to your instructor's syllabus for those due dates of when these forms are due. So if you're in person or if you are online, in person you'll submit them to your service learning assistant or to our office if you do not have a service learning assistant in your class. If you are online or live online, you will email it to servicelearning@mesacc.edu. Really important that you make sure when you send your email that you include this information on the subject line. That way we know how to sort and file that course, your paperwork to that course. Okay, so I've already jumped into some of this stuff. In the first page, it just gives you another overview of what service learning is and some of those areas of focus. It gives you also definitions of civic engagement and community engagement. If I didn't tell you, our department is located on the Southern and Dobson campus in KSC 35N, the Clock Tower building, the lower level. Or on the Red Mountain campus, it's in the Academic Engagement Center, which is located in Desert Willow Building. Some other things you can fit here is like a checklist of what the forms are that a forms overview. We're going to go through the placement process through this orientation. We're going to go through the paperwork, who gets what, when you get it, when, again, not the due date. I'll mention it just now. If you need a fingerprint clearance card, there is a link on our website that links you to more information to obtain your fingerprint clearance card. And then telephone protocol. If you need to call your agency, it's really, really, really important that you let them know you are a Mesa Community College student and that you are doing this for a course. Because we've had students not have such great experience because they didn't communicate with their agency that they were doing this for the course, and so they were actually put in the agency's court-ordered community service program. So let them know you're an MCC student, what course you're getting to do this for, and how many hours you get to do. And leave your phone number. I've had a lot of students say they've never called me back. Well, that's because they haven't been able to, call you back because you didn't leave your phone number. So we give that to you as a guide so you have it. As we go through service learning, I'm going to come back to some of the benefits that you can gain from service learning. You can see them here, and ways to extend your service learning. So the first form in your packet, or in this attachment, is a letter that you will leave. So they're color coded. This is a white letter, so white to the site, as it says in the top header, so that you should leave it with the agencies you're doing your service at. You will fill in your information and your instructor's information and leave it with them. If they, I do recommend giving it to them. That way they can get a hold of you, your instructor, if they have any questions or concerns. I would highly encourage you to read this letter so that you know what really service learning, again, is and what your instructor wants you to get out of it. Now, let's talk about the forms you will turn in. So the next forms in this packet, you will turn both these forms in before you start your service. So the confirmation form that's right here, you will fill in all of your information, your course information, and your agency information. If you have more than one course doing service learning, you will pick your primary service learning course. It's typically the course with the most hours, and then your secondary or other courses that you again have service learning. And let's say you have more than one class with service learning. You're probably thinking, oh my gosh, I have to do 20 hours for that class, 15 hours for that class, and then you're thinking that's 35 hours of service. Well, the cool thing is if your service for both courses, if you can do the service and they align, you don't have to do 35, the max you have to do 25. So for instance, in Sociology 101, if your instructor's requirement is 20 hours, and that's your primary service learning course, and you're in a social work class and they have a 15-hour requirement. Well, if you're studying people, working with people, then you're applying the course objectives for the experience at the agency, so it fits both courses. You're still going to have assignments, discussions, papers, or other things your instructor will have you do. But service learning is not about amassing a ton of hours. It's really about the learning that occurs while you're doing service. So you'll turn your original into the primary course and then copies to your other course or courses. If you are an online student, you will make sure when you send the email that you list both courses in that subject line, the primary at first and then the secondary second. That way, again, we know that you have more than one class doing service learning. So agencies, you're going to list their information there. And then next here is the responsibilities. You're going to sit down with your agency, the supervisor, and negotiate what you're going to do and when you commit to being there. So really important when you establish those course or those service responsibilities that they first and foremost meet your course objective. So let's say it is to gain hands-on experience in working with diverse individuals. Well, if you go to an agency and all they have you doing is working in the back storage room and you're not working with individuals at all, then you're not meeting the course objectives. Might it be a need of the agency? Absolutely. And so then what you'll need to negotiate with the agency is says, hey, I've done some projects with the agency because well, actually backups again. First and foremost, must meet your course objective. Second, is a need that the agency might have. So they did need you to do a little bit of organizing of the storage room, but you don't want to do that for your full 20 hours because you really need to be interacting with individuals so that you're meeting those course objectives. And third, something you're comfortable and able to do. And so again, making sure those responsibilities, they can change over time, but they might not necessarily change over time. One time I had a student come in at the end of the semester and she goes, oh my gosh, my service learning was terrible. All I did was file, type, and answer phones. And I said, well, what did you agree to do? And listed in her responsibilities was file, type, and answer phones. So thankfully I knew enough about her agency and I knew enough about her course objectives that I could talk to her about how impactful her service learning really was. And then also when you're setting up with your agencies, figure out a schedule that works for you and them. Just set this up just like you would any other course or class or your job or your work. So 20 hours. You get to do 20 hours, for instance, and again, you need to look at your instructor's syllabus to determine the hours required. But let's say it's 20, and over a 10-week semester, how many hours a week would that be that you need to do? 2. Yeah, so as you think about it that way, do you want to go in on Mondays and Wednesdays from 1 to 2 because that's your schedule, or just Wednesdays from 3 to 5? Does that work for you? Does that work for them? Again, you're going to establish this like you would your job, your classes, and things like that. So you'll list those there. So let's scroll through. So that is the first part of the confirmation and agreement of conduct. And the next one is please, please, please read this agreement of conduct. It talks about showing up when you say you're going to show up. Attire, please dress appropriately. Find out what is appropriate to wear because some of our partners required you to wear closed-toed shoes, a uniform, no jeans. Yet I will always say, please avoid the 3 B's. That's no boobs, no butts, no bellies. We want to make sure we're covering those up. Remember, when you go to these agencies, you not only represent yourself, you represent your instructors, our department, the college, so you don't want to ruin it for any other students who may come after you. So read through this agreement of conduct. Make sure you understand that you are responsible and hopefully you pride yourself on that. You will obtain 2 required signatures, your agency supervisor as well as yours, saying that you agree to those things and that they agree to mentor or supervise you through your service learning experience. The next signature on the bottom of the form, this photo release, that is totally optional. We do that and we have that there in case we are capturing people's photos that we can, and or we have reflections and things like that. So the photo release again is optional. You don't have to sign it yet. If we ever get to take advantage of your photos, we would have it already there. Okay, so that confirmation form, again, either you can print it or download it from our website, is turned in before you start your service. The next form you will turn in before you start your service is the assumption of risk and release liability. This form must be turned in, both of them, but this form especially must be turned in before you start your service. So before you start your service, you're turning this Experiential Education Partnership Agreement in. The first line here is your printed name. The next will be your student ID or your MEID. And this third line here, this is the name of the agency you are doing your service at. I forget if I said already, I may use agency, community partner, site, school interchangeably. That is the location you're doing your service at. So you're putting the name of the location you're doing your service at. I don't want to see MCC unless you're serving at MCC Children's Center, for instance, or MCC Rose Garden. Then you can list that. The fourth and fifth line, which these dates may be different from when you're now viewing this orientation than when they'd actually be on the form listed on our website. This is typically the very first day of the semester, the very last day of the semester. That is not when your hours are due. You need to refer to your instructor's syllabus for those due dates, again, of the initial forms and your hours in your contact log, okay? You will read it and then sign and date it. This one takes no one else's signature unless you're under 18. And then if you're under 18, then you must have a parent or legal guardian sign it. It's really important that when you go to these agencies that you understand you are liable and responsible for yourself. So we ask that you are never left alone with children or vulnerable populations, or if something becomes unsafe, stop it and get a staff member. And some of my examples for service might be kid related, yet you don't have to work with kids. We have a lot of opportunities that are, not kids. But let's say you're working at XYZ agency and the staff member says, hey, Dawn, I'm going to step away to go use the restroom. Can you keep track of these kids while I am away? Thank you, Miss Dawn, for trusting me with these kids, yet I need you to stay here. I need you to get a staff member, or I need you to take the kids with you. You just never want to be left alone, again, with children or vulnerable populations. You always want to think safety for yourself as well as the safety for those you're working with. If that's making sense, I hope so. Okay, so let's keep moving along to the paperwork. So far, we have talked about what service learning is, the letter that you will leave with the agency you're doing your service at, and then the 2 forms that you will turn in before you start your service, the confirmation form and then the assumption of risk, the confirmation form, and then the assumption of risk and release liability. These 2 forms get turned in before you start your service, okay? You can get the hard copies in our office or you can download them from our website. So moving right along is then you're going to be tracking your hours. Just like with the placement confirmation form, please fill in all of the requested information because we will have a lot of service learning paperwork coming through our office. And if we are not sure what class the paperwork goes to, it will delay the processing of the paperwork. Okay, so please make sure you're filling in that information fully in all the requested fields. So this is your contact log. I'm going to scroll by this page and go to here. So you are going to make the dates of your visits, the time of your visits, and a brief description of what your service responsibilities are. And it really is just that, a brief description, and then total your hours. Service learning is, we don't want you just observing. Service learning is not observation. We don't want you just sitting in the back of the agency, sitting watching what they're doing. We want you hands-on, actively participating. Not taking over, not telling them how to do their job, yet actively participating in the experience. However, service learning is observation. And what I mean by that is we want you observing, how is this agency set up? What are they providing their clients? What information, or what is, why do they exist? What is the instructor teaching me that I am connecting to my my agency? Those kinds of observation, critical thinking skills that we want you to do. And you will just list it, and at the bottom you will total your hours. Please note here at the very bottom the way I'd like you to calculate your time in whole hours, 0.75 for 45 minutes, or 0.5 for 30 minutes, or 0.25 for 15 minutes. For your math sanity as well as my math sanity, please go ahead and do it that way. Okay, so just to recap the paperwork, you will turn in your confirmation form along with your assumption of risk before you do your service. You will then be doing your service. You will be completing the contact log as you go. Oh, and then actually let me go back up. Forgive me, I just remembered to scroll back up. When you are done with your service, you're going to have them evaluate you. Hey, Mrs. Smith, I really enjoyed my service with you. Can you take a few minutes to evaluate me? Two reasons why we do this. First and foremost is so you see how, well, one is you see how well you're doing or areas that you may need to improve upon. And then first and foremost is so that you're adding closure to your service. So they know you are no longer coming back. Because if you were going at a certain day set in time, do you think they started building you into their programming and things that they needed to do? Absolutely. And if poof, you just stopped showing up, do you think that might have put them in a bind? Absolutely. So you'll want to make sure you add that closure. And that's their chance to say, hey, what about, like, let's go talk to so-and-so to see if there's a job for you. Or if you ever need a letter of recommendations, I'd like to write you one. Or, hey, would you like to continue to volunteer? I hope and pray it is don't let the door hit you on the way out. Okay? So you'll have them evaluate you. I would encourage you to keep a copy of this contact log, especially if that evaluation's good. Because as we had talked earlier about career exploration, one of the benefits of service learning is that you can use this as real world, real life experience. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're interviewing for a job and they say, tell me about a time that you've worked with diverse individuals. Fantastic. In my sociology class, I got to serve at this agency. I got to do this, and look, this is what my supervisor actually even had to say about me. Pretty cool, right? So you will turn that one in at the end of your service, and if you do more hours than required, keep track of it, because we make a certificate in our office that says where you served and how many hours you served. And it's a cool thing that you can put in your portfolios or even have for your scholarship applications or even the job interviews. So you need to earn the certificate, though, you must serve an approved community partner, which we're going to talk about here in a second. You must submit all your paperwork, and you're not able to get paid for your hours. And they're only issued in your primary service learning course. So let's talk about the community partners. So I'm going to go here to our, excuse me, let me go back to our department's homepage. I thought I had this earmarked here. So I'm going to scroll down from our department's page here to service sites. And then clicking here. If you really want to serve an agency that's not listed in our database, you can come see our office and work at it. Just know it can take anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 years to add an agency, so it might not be worth the time and effort to add an agency. So we're going to click here on the into a portal or a database online. There's a few things you can do to find the partners, and just know from whatever date this orientation is made and when you view it, the community partner that examples I may show may not be active partners, and there's a lot of different reasons why they might not be active. So really important that you check the database out each time and not just go off my screencast of who maybe the contact was. So you have a few things. If you need help, you can click down here and get this search help feature. If you show all, it's just basically an alphabetical list of all the different agencies that you might have, might be interested in doing your service at. And so let's see, I was going to click on, we'll click here on, whoop, I scrolled too much, don'tleaveme.org. it will have the contact information, and if there, my mouse is kind of being funky, if there is conditions and what the potential service opportunities are. So that's there. I'm going to just go back. So yeah, you click there, Feed My Starving Children. Oftentimes students serve there. It talks the information on being placed, what you need to do. So that is just searching all tags. I'm going to scroll up. Or excuse me, not searching all the agencies that are listed, and then there's some different tags that you can select. So maybe you're interested in, let's see, education. No, let's go, excuse me, we'll go, disabilities, and we'll undo education. Then we're going to click search, and it will show you what agencies, again, they would give us those tags that have those types of tags. You click multiple tags to find multiple different opportunities. Okay, so that's using the tags. You can also click by cities, or you can even search a name. So let's say I want to search for a Boys and Girls Club. Again, a partner is active today, might not be an active partner tomorrow. So I just put in boy, because sometimes less is more, in your search, and then it will show you the different active partners, and clicking on each one would then give you hopefully the correct contact information. And as it says, if you see any errors, then you can email our department. So that's how you will find your community partners. So let me show you from our home page, our department's homepage, mesacc.edu/getengaged. You're going to scroll down to service sites, there, and then click on the link for the database. There. Fantastic. There are let me go to back here, because I said I would scroll back up and talk about some of the benefits of service learning. What you put into this is really what you get out of it. And so if you want it to be a boring, dumb, stupid assignment, it really will be that. Yet if you want it to be an engaging assignment, it can be just that. There are a lot of opportunities and scholarships and awards and different things that you can apply for through our office, and I encourage you to either come see us, look around our website, and get involved in service learning. So with that, as I mentioned, what you put into this is what you will get out of it. I am Dawn Rhodes. I'm the Service Learning Program Coordinator. I'm excited to see what you do this semester for service learning. And hopefully this orientation answered all of your questions. If not, your instructor or our office definitely can answer those questions for you. Thanks, and make it a great day.